Merry meet everyone. Hope you all are doing great. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update of the Celtic astrology, okay? On April the 15th, we entered the Celtic lunar month of the Willow tree, and that will last until May the 12th. The Om for the Willow is the Sal, S-A-I-L-L. So this, the Celtic symbol for this month is the sea serpent. Now, to specify, the willow is in between the zodiac degrees of 24 degrees and 0 minutes of Aries to 20 degrees and 59 minutes of Taurus. The moon is ruling planet, and it is associated with the lunar goddesses such as Caradwyn, Morrigan, Hecate, and Artemis. So lunar goddesses. And one of the great celebrations during the time of the willow tree is Beltane. And this represents the light half of the year. So this is when the time that the ancient Celts divided their time up into two sections, which was Beltane, the beginning of the light half, and then Samhain, which was the beginning of the dark half of the year. So this was of great importance to them, because this is, when you are depending on your livestock and growing your food. When the earth begins to get warm and things begin to grow, that is very important for you. So Beltane is a great celebration of fertility and life. Life is greatly celebrated at Beltane. The sun god is growing and getting bigger, and the earth mother is awakening. So it's welcoming life once more, and this is when they come together and have their union. So it seems very appropriate that this time is a time of celebrating life becoming. The willow is associated with death, which is what's really interesting. And even the ancient pharaohs the pharaohs' tombs had willow leaves painted on the walls. So this has great symbolism. And we can also take it back to the Israelites. They would decorate their grand altar when they had the Feast of the Tabernacle. So we can see willow having that influence. Robert Graves, he is a great author, and he wrote in his book King Jesus, the Old Testament teachings state that no man can at the same time love God as he demands to be loved, and a woman as she demands to be loved. He must choose between the eternal Father or the fish-tailed Queen of Heaven. And that is very interesting. And what's even stranger is that Mary Magdalene, or Magdala, has been associated with a willow tree. We do know that, and we do know how Jesus's myth ends. Since it is said that Yeshua, Jesus, studied with the Druids, is that myth further playing out the dance between the great goddess and the god? That's very interesting. So the willow tree is connected to the lunar goddess, as I said, and it's considered to be a tree of enchantment like the ash tree. It is sacred to the goddess and all of the death aspects of the triple-fold goddess. An interesting myth that I love is the one of the Tua de Danann, and it is stated that it was at Beltane that the Tua landed in Ireland out of a cloud of mist, like a fog, to represent their commitment to stay forever. They set their ships on fire, and this is supposed to have, they landed, they're going to stay, so they set their ships on fire so they can't leave. It is said that those that are born within the month of the willow tree are said to be under the influence of the Irish goddess Dana. Now, the willow tree is associated with creation myths, especially to the Druids and their creatrix, Caradwyn. The triple aspect of Hecate is very prevalent to the willow because of the different aspects she represents. Hecate represents the aspect of death and initiation, which is very prevalent in many ancient spiritual traditions and mystery schools. This is also, you can hear it as the term of resurrection. In this Beltane, we'll be having a full moon in Scorpio, which is normal for this time of year. But the lunar eclipse that we're going to have is not quite normal. While calendar-wise, we celebrate Beltane on April the 30th to May the 1st, the exact astrological timing for Beltane will be on May the 5th, because that is when the sun will be at 15 degrees of Taurus. It is said the Druids believe that when this happens, it represents both conception and death. This is a primeval replay of spiritual forces regenerating in the universe. So this is conception and death. So this would be rebirth and death. So an immediate ending and then a beginning. So that's really interesting as we are coming, and this being in Scorpio, that is taking us to the underworld and wanting us to look deeper. Interesting. So the Celtic sea serpent, I'm sorry, let me back up just a little bit. I want to reiterate something here. This moon is touching on the mysteries of life and that which is sex, life, death, and rebirth. So these are the mysteries that we have in our journey here. And this is touching on this, and it's so important. And I'm going to urge you to please listen to my show, the astrological show that I will air on May the 3rd, because I will go into this eclipse deeper, okay? Now, the Celtic sea serpent is a representation of the moon, and it is there to remind us of the control that the moon has over the oceans here on Earth. It is said that at this time, the moon goddess will confront the solar hero to remind them of their inevitable fate. And just as the Morrigan appeared before Cuchulainn to remind him of his fate, this is saying that, and what this is getting into is that, you know, the god, as the goddess is immortal, and, you know, she lives forever. It is the god that is mortal, and he is the one who dies at the end. Okay, so, you know, when we have midsummer, that is when the sun is at his height. That is when the sun god is king. So after that, he will begin to fall. This year, Beltane will represent that deep dive into the primordial waters of creation. While the goddess is immortal, the sun god reminds us of our immortality. Her appearance reminds us it reminds us of who we are, and one of those humbling kind of remembering and realization that, you know, life is really short, and we really need to think about where we are placing our energy and what we are doing in this life. What would we like to leave behind? That sort of thing. How would we want to be remembered? What impact do we want to make of our life? Many people are content with going to work and coming home, and that's kind of like in that autopilot. That is that complete, you know, that is one where we urge you to tap into spirituality. But those that are spiritual, we want to learn more, and we are diving deep into these understandings because we are working our way to enlightenment, right? Now, you know, and when you have these experiences, you know, it changes you. It really changes you in profound ways that you just can't even describe it, of how when you undergo this whole initiation process, the changes that come after that are just, I can't even describe them to you. So this is a moon of enchantment, and this will really, it'll give us a reality check that we need. There is a stellarium going on in Taurus, and what that means is there's just a big lineup of planets in Taurus. So it's really on the surface, right? There's a lot of material attention to the material world. But Lady Luna is in Scorpio, and it will unveil those structures that are trying to gain or that have gained too much power that is not good for the all. Especially regarding things that are shared with others. These are connections that you share your energy with. Also money. It could go into that money realm, shared money. Scorpio represents shared money, such as like stock or things that you invest in, those type of things. The next lunar cycle we enter after the willow is the hawthorn tree, whose symbol is the chalice, which is also a symbol of the Holy Grail. And if you remember, you would drink from the Holy Well, the Holy Grail, and the Holy Well too, for healing or to attain life everlasting. The god associated with the hawthorn is a Vulcan, who was the custodian of the celestial fire, that is believed to direct us to the higher powers of the mind. So this is going into enlightenment and the higher powers of the mind. I do feel this will unveil the needless stuff that we hold on to, like those attachments that drain us and keep us from going forward on our spiritual journey. Things, places, people, our attachments that can hold us back from our soul's journey. It's going to connect with them all. We can get sidetracked and distracted easily, and then we can get entangled into karmic energies that are there to challenge us to move forward to our highest good. Now, this is also referred to as the journey of the hero, or as the fool, which is known nowadays. But after the purification and the initiation of Beltane and the willow tree, the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse, we are passed to the smith god to further mold us on our quest. In the booklet by Carl W. Stahl, describes Vulcan, according to the ancients, as a fiery, combustible, explosive, and ethereal planet. Ptolemy states that when a planet is combust, which means conjunct the sun, it impregnates the sun with its power, and that is good or bad. So after the completion of the full moon, we are met with the innovation of the hawthorn tree, which will help us make our way to creating the unmanifest into the physical world. But this is going to be in a different way, because we are going to detach from those things that are draining us, that are really keeping us from going forward. Our new moon in May will be on the 19th at 11:53 a.m. and that's Eastern time, to be exact. And it will take place in the lunar month of the hawthorn tree. So this is very important, because this is a shifting of energy. The Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse is taking us to the underworld initiation process. It's time to cut away what is draining and what is no longer needed to make room for creation and new energy to enter. And that is it's a step up. It's taken us to a higher realm. Remember, this is touching into, this is going into Vulcan, and he represents that higher mind aspect. the paradox is that there is nothing new under the sun. And so we are being alchemists of sorts. We are changing and transforming the old into something new. I want to make a note here that the Celtic smith god, equivalent to Vulcan, is the Irish Danin Govenin. So you can look that up. I did make a blog of that, and I will include it in the description. So that is my take of the Willow Tree Month. I will be making a video for Hawthorn when it is time. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Merry part till we merry meet again.